Tell you what I want, what I really... Will the real Slim Shady sit the down? Ever since I saw a Detroit pizza made in one of those endless edge brownie pans in Modernist Pizza, I wanted to make one, just without the endless edge brownie pan, because, you know, fuck endless edge brownie pans. But it's not just because they're a $60 novelty that'll gather dust in the corner of your kitchen after 1 or 2 uses, but it's because they simply aren't conducive, pun intended, to making quality pizza. The reason why you would even make a Detroit pizza in a pan like that should be obvious. So every piece has at least double the amount of that caramelized cheesy edge, also known as the frico, which is the defining characteristic of Detroit pizza, in my opinion. I set about trying to come up with a way to do it without that stupid pan and to try and save some money in the meantime. My first attempt was a hack in every sense of the word. I cut up some cheap loaf tins that I bought from the supermarket, and I snaked my dough sausage around the labyrinthine contraption I had committed myself to. In short, probably the worst pizza I've ever made. I did make a very basic batch to test this contraption out, and that didn't help. But the main problem was the thin aluminum that made up the $2.99 loaf tins. Crap. It was soggy, it was dense, it was However, as terrible as it was, it did provide a eureka moment. I thought to myself, I wonder if I could buy some more sturdy loaf tins and cut the ends off those. I was obviously still trying to hack it. But then I thought, why not just try and find a long loaf tin made of a nice, thick material. After all, if it's more frico edge that I'm after, does it really need to sneak around the table like a cheese serpent? And after a bit of searching, this is what I found. It's a 14 by 12 by 1.5 anodized aluminium pan with tapered edges. The term frico comes from a dish that originated in the 15th century in the Friulia region of Italy by one Maestro Martino. Is made with potatoes and cheese and has a crispy texture. We have 220 grams of all-purpose flour, 7 grams of vital wheat gluten, we've got 10 grams of sugar, 2 grams of instant dried yeast. Off to the side, 8 grams of olive oil, 5.7 grams of salt. We're going to mix these dry ingredients together. 104 grams of filtered water, to which I'm going to add 100 grams of my resident starter. Tear the scales. We're going to add 100 grams of this bad boy in there. And then we're going to add all of that to that. This is enough to make 2 Slim Shady Detroits. Mix it up, get a nice mix on whatever countertop you use to knead dough. And we'll give it about 5 minutes kneading. Or you can use a mixer. After about 5 or 6 minutes of mixing, the dough should be a lot more elastic and about 76 degrees. You can get one of these for very cheap off Amazon if you're serious about making dough. You're always shooting for a final dough temperature of about 78 to 81 degrees. So now we're going to introduce the oil very slowly while it mixes. You can do the same thing with your handies. It's going to be a bit more time consuming and a bit more messy as well. 5.2 grams of salt. I'm going to mix that for another 3 or 4 minutes or until it gets to about 78 degrees. All right, it's been about 4 or 5 more minutes. The dough is 78 degrees. It's nice and pliable, elastic. We're going to rest it for 15 minutes. If you don't have a temperature gun, you just want to get it till it feels like a nice, soft, pliable dough. If it feels slightly warmer than your surroundings, then she's good. 15 minutes at room before we shape it. We're going to liberally butter this little bastard up. Going to get it nice and battered. And then I'm going to put some oil and brush that around as well. It does been resting for 15 minutes. Half of this will go in the fridge overnight. 219 each. Roll up half as such. Nice little ball. You don't have to because it's going to be made into a rectangle. And this is going to be a 2 or 3 stage process. First stage is to just place it in like this. Try and get it as far into the little bad boy. It's not going to stay because we're going to come back in half an hour and push it out more and dimple it more in 30 minutes. It's going to sit at room temperature until then. Et voila. It's been about half an hour now. Give it a dimpling. See how it's a lot easier to move around the pan? This action is going to introduce bubbles into the dough and thereby introducing volume. It shouldn't, but only because you might not have mixed it for the right amount of time or temperature. It could be still a little bit less manageable, but I think this is the last time I'm going to dimple it. Yours might need one more dimpling. If it's not staying in the corners of the pan like this, see this? Stay like a little good little dough doggy. Then do it again in about half an hour. As it stands, this looks good. I'm going to rest it for 3 hours at room temperature. And then you've got another option. Now, if you don't happen to have a starter sitting around in your fridge, you've got a couple of different options. You can make a poolish the day before. All you have to do is put 50 grams each of water and all-purpose flour with 0.1, a scant eighth teaspoon in America, of instant dried yeast in a container. Mix and cover. Leave at room temperature for about 18 hours or until it doubles in size. But don't stress out about it. You can use it at any point after that. You don't have to like worry about if it's done enough or not. Then you've got another option. You can buy one of these. Captain Sour Pants. Probably even easier than the poolish. You just read this, read the words, and do the things that it says, and then you just feed it once a week. And basically, if you don't make pizza or bread once a week, you just throw an amount away and you add that amount back to feed it again. It's very, very easy. Just set yourself a little reminder every week. If you want to skip pre-ferment entirely, then that's even more simpler. You just add 50 grams each of flour and water to the recipe I just demonstrated. So it's been about 3 or 4 hours. She sank a bit, and I've had the oven on for about an hour, 550. We are now going to stick her in the bloody oven for about 8 minutes, 7 or 8 minutes, till it turns brown on top. We're going to top this pizza with some mozzarella cheese for the middle of the pizza, a little bit of white cheddar and Parmigiano, pecorino, whatever the f it's called. Grated along the sides because these types of cheeses give it more caramelization. You don't want to put too much on it. Some of the white cheddar with a slightly smaller grate. You can smell that lovely dough flavor coming out of the oven now. That's when you know it's getting there. Getting prepared means I'm not going to be about plenty of this. This is the stuff that's going to give it a nice Frico edge. Quite a few grams and ounces. Use your own common sense. Don't go overboard. Probably better to go underboard than it is to go overboard. Let's have a little looky, shall we? As you can see, it's got a nice brown golden color on it. Another advantage to using a smaller Detroit like this, smaller Detroit pan, you don't have to flip it 180 degrees to bake the other side. I'm just going to top this with a nice judicial amount of mozzarella in the middle. This will be the gooey kind of traditional cheese that you expect. And all through the middle of the pizza, every bite will have this. You know it's enough when there's a few, especially with this big grate, when there's like gaps. You can see little gaps everywhere. The cheese is going to melt, remember? And now we're going to put our special Frico blend along the edges, starting with the white cheddar. Got a little cushion, the Parmigiano. The basil is not going on till it comes out. Pack these very ends up nice. We're going to layer some deli pepperoni through the middle, bubbling away on the stove. I have some very basic pizza sauce I've just warmed up. It's the stuff that I use to top regular pizzas, only I'm warming it. And I put the recipe all right down there, whatever, because we're going to top that when it gets out. This is going to go back in the oven for a few more minutes till the cheese gets all gratinati. You will know when this is done because you will smell that gratinated cheese. It smells like when you some of the cheese falls out of your grilled cheese sandwich, cooks in the pan. When you smell that smell, she's good. I'm going to give it some cracked pepper and let all of this cheese reconstitute. Take something nice and flat and metal and run it along the side like such. Oh, you know it's crispy when it's giving you some resistance. I think in my tests for all these pieces, getting it out rather soonish might be key to keeping it crispy. So we're going to do that right now. Doink! Oh, check it out. Oh. Some fresh basilio all upon her because she loves it. Oh, she loves it. You know what? You know what it looks like she needs? Fresh basil, kind of mentally, minty-ish smell permeating from this crispy little fucker. Let that cool for a few more minutes. We are now going to slice. Oh, listen to it crisp. Crispy. And I can easily do this again tomorrow. If you want to go in me oven. You know, this thing does have some actual added benefits that are not quite as obvious to the untrained eye. First, you can make so much more than just brownies or pizza in it. You could make, you know, like something else. It's way easier to store than its bigger counterpart. But the best part is that you can make Detroit pizza more often. This is just my opinion. Making a full-size Detroit pizza is a rare event. There's a lot of it to make and eat. If you have a larger family that breezes through Detroit in a single night, you'd probably disagree with me. If you still wanted to go this route and you haven't already bought a Detroit pan, then you can buy 2 of these. And that way you can even make the pizzas different for various family members that might or might not like the same things that you do. Well, I've shown you the worst and the best attempts at making an endless edge Detroit pizza. I don't know why I don't like that term, but it just makes my fucking blood boil. It just gets on my nerves because there's nothing endless about it, is there? This might look like what would happen if you put a stick of dynamite in your arse. Let's see what it tastes like. I have to give an honourable mention in the form of what I call a Bundt hole pizza. It's not called thusly because the first one looked like an exploded anus. Rather, it's because it's made in a Bundt pan. I have to call this one a valiant but still failed attempt. I think if you can find one that's made out of the same material as your boy Lloyd's pans or cast iron, and you really can like making Bundt cakes, then there might be legs as well as a nice arse on this idea. And I'm not totally ruling out making it work for me either. I think that it either suffers from the same thing that the first one did, which was the conductivity of the pan. Maybe there was too much depth to the formula and ratio of formula to container. Perhaps the hydration was too high or too low, because the main problem arose in the form of the bottom of it steaming almost, which is probably what Nathan Myhrvold was talking about in Modernist Pizza. So you get this kind of soggy bottom. But if you have any ideas, feel free to leave a comment. But you can also head over to my new website, enterthedojo.com. That is DOUGHJO.com. And you can read the dough journal I took for most of this episode. And that I'll be taking for every episode of everything. And the link to that will be, you know what? If you go to that website, you'll be able to, in real time, see some of the things I'm getting up to. I update it regularly and publish it quite regularly as well. So it could give you some insight into future videos. You know, the next one might be a year away, for all we fucking know. While we're on the subject, please let me know about any and all of the topics that you'd like to see me cover here on the channel. I could really do with a backlog of ideas, good ones that I know people want to see. I think it would motivate me to really knock the videos out so I could get on to the next one and give you what you want. Give you what you want, what you really, really want. Give you what you want, ziggy, ziggy, zig. Give you what you want, what you want. But thanks for watching this. I love you all. Love you all. See you next time. All right.